Before you call the vote, Mr. Farina, we as a council voted 9-0 that nonprofits, maybe you don't want to include schools in that, should be afforded the same dollar a year as Easterseals was. I did email the mayor's office and I asked why Hoboken Charter would be paying $26,000 after we had a 9-0 vote on the council, and I was told because Easterseals was part of the homeless initiative, which would be great, except for I reached out to Easterseals 2 weeks ago to help a homeless woman get potentially get a job, and Vanessa, you're laughing.
Oh, sorry.
Have them help her get a job, and they told me they actually don't work with homeless people. They work with people, unless the homeless person happens to be disabled or a senior citizen, because that's who they work with, disabled and seniors. I said, I think this homeless person may have a disability, and they said without certification, they
can't work with
they
them.
can't work with them.
But they get free rent for that.
Most homeless people probably aren't going to have certification of a disability. I'm not saying don't vote on this, do vote on this, but we haven't had a homeless meeting since December, unless you've been having them and I haven't been invited. But I think this is a big issue that Easterseals was given a dollar a year lease because they were helping with the homeless initiative. And the woman I spoke to was lovely and was able to point me in different directions all over Hudson County of people that could help homeless people, but specifically said Easterseals does not. And that's what the council was sold.
Well,
so.
do we know whether this was offered to the public, the traditional public schools as well, this space?
I don't know, and I'm not, right, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't. Right, and I'm not saying maybe we should think, you know.
Maybe schools
And
aren't
if we,
nonprofits or.
They're currently in the space as well.
But then you could
Should
say,
they have to pay?
was the Easterseals space offered to the homeless shelter?
No, wasn't offered to anyone.
Was it offered to Garden State Episcopal, who both serve the homeless community in Hudson County? It wasn't.
Is there any reason, Director Marks, why this is urgent for today, or?
Well,
This is actually an amendment to a lease agreement that's coming into effect from
When's it going to end, expire?
Green Acres?
Well,
multi-service center building, could be.
It's on
that's
Green
for-
Acre.
That's for the Boys and Girls Club, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a multi-service center.
Yeah, not the Boys and Girls.
Yeah, we're renewing a lease, so I suppose if between now and April 5th, or whatever, it's going to expire, that might be a problem, but then again.
But North Hudson, are they back in the building at North Hudson? No, right? They've been there for a while.
It doesn't expire until the end of June, so we have to.
Just to provide a little clarity, because I worked on the first lease with the Hoboken Charter School. So they had the opportunity to extend their lease if they needed more time before they go into their new building. So I believe.
You think contractually we're obligated to give it to them if they have the option to renew?
We don't have to. If
He's
we
saying
don't
they
want
need
to,
it, though.
But they need it. So what I'm trying to say, this is an extension of their original.
No, but if we vote on this tonight, is it going to, and hold off on it until, or if we don't vote on it tonight, hold off on it till the
Just for the
20th,
next
is there
meeting.
going to,
I'm just not, I don't understand why we would hold off on it.
Because we may charge them $1,
We
or
might charge
charge
them
them
$1.
$20,000.
if they,
Why
do they
would
pay
you-
monthly?
Why would we charge them $1 when they already executed a contract that said that if they wanted an extension, they would pay
Well,
X
they-
amount of dollars?
Because we
This is
passed
a-
a resolution saying
No,
that nonprofits
that's a
pay
good point.
$1.
No, I get
So
that.
I'm
But
just-
what I'm trying to say
won't
is
fight
this,
us on
you should go,
They won't
this
fight
is
us on it.
backdated. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Your resolution was on what date? That was after
was
this
recently.
contract. Yeah, right, exactly. It was after this contract was executed.
I think it's on
So-
principle. It's not whether we
Yeah,
can
no,
do it.
it's just more of
a
a,
principle.
it's more of a principle. If we're gonna,
Correct.
if
That's the
we're,
goal,
yeah.
I'm just explaining. I'm not.
It's not gonna go higher. It's not gonna go shorter. It's potentially beneficial to Hoboken Charter, and the question is, do we have an opportunity to do something more?
One of the issues becomes is kind of what Director Pellegrini said is This contract was entered into in June 2017, so it's already been negotiated technically under our form of government. The council doesn't have the ability to renegotiate a contract.
Well, we know that, and the question I asked the mayor, or actually the statement I made to the mayor was, I understand you negotiate the contracts, but as a council, we voted 9-0 on this, so why wouldn't you
Go back and renegotiate.
go back? No, not go back and renegotiate. I said, so why would you give Easterseals their space for $1, but Hoboken Charter, you wouldn't do the same? And his reason was because it's part of the homeless initiative.
But the council president, if, I don't know whether, if there are hypothetically, if there's a need in the traditional public school beyond their facilities, and they have to rent additional space,
Maybe charge
do
$1.
they, if they go to the private sector, they're gonna pay,
Correct, if they go to the private sector, but I'm
If
talking
they
about
get
if they rent from the city of Hoboken, if they're
Council-
using space from the city of Hoboken.
Easterseals could
Council
have gone
President.
to private sector and rented at commercial rates as well, but we gave them $1 a year lease and didn't
Council
offer it
President.
to anyone else.
Having talked to the mayor about this, I understand where you're coming from in terms of trying to treat all nonprofits equally, but there is a material difference between a 501c3 charitable organization and a school
So
that may
maybe
be a
that's
nonprofit,
maybe that's
but
something
not a
that's what I just
charitable.
said. Maybe schools shouldn't be included in this.
Right.
I said that from the very beginning. But my answer, the response I got was the reason we did this was because they are part of the homeless initiative. And then when I spoke with the woman from Easterseals, who I cannot say enough nice things about, she was very helpful to me, but said to me, Easterseals doesn't deal with homeless, they deal with disabled and elderly. If your homeless person happens to be disabled or elderly, then we can take them on.
So perhaps the governing body going forward should develop a policy on providing $1 a year leases for truly charitable organizations, not just not-for-profit.
We did that.
Well, there's a difference. So the charter is a not-for-profit or a nonprofit, but it's not from my
Charitable.
understanding, a charitable organization. So
Well,
the
we have-
Easterseals is and
Right, like
and was a
Hoboken
charitable
Family Planning.
organization.
Hoboken Family Planning, when their lease is up, should be $1 a year.
Right.
I think we're all in agreement on that. Mr. Farina? Did we find out if we have to vote on this tonight? Is it going to cause any issue with Hoboken Charter School?
I can only guess it. This contract
Mr. Farina, call
expires
the
on
vote
June
on
30th.
6.
Mr. Cunningham? Aye. Mr. Fusco?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle? Mrs. Falco?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher?
Yeah.
Mrs. Jabour?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
President Giattino?
No. $1 a year. Abstain. I'm sorry, I abstain. Thank you.
Ordinance for introduction.